My name is Lauren Hersh. I'm the Director of Anti-Trafficking Policy and Advocacy at Sanctuary for Families, where I also spearhead a project at universities where we represent victims of sexual violence and gender misconduct.
Hi, I'm Monica Sobrin. I'm a student at Fordham University, and I'm also part of Students United for Safer Schools New York.
This is really a very comprehensive piece of legislation that the governor has created that requires colleges, universities in the state of New York to adopt specific policies and procedures. It creates a uniform definition of affirmative consent, defining consent as a knowing, voluntary, and mutual decision among all parties with regard to every single sexual act. So a person can consent, can affirmatively consent to kissing and then has to affirmatively consent to any subsequent act. It also creates an amnesty policy that ensures that students who are reporting incidents of sexual violence are not penalized for certain campus policy violations. So here we're really talking about drug and alcohol policy violations. Campuses also are required now, under this new law, to distribute a student bill of rights to all students, which informs victims of their legal rights and how they can access these legal rights. Students are also given the right to know that if there is a sexual assault, that they're not obligated to exclusively report it to their campus, but that they can report it to local law enforcement as well. The legislation also creates a part of the state police called the Sexual Assault Victims Unit, where there are specially trained investigators who have victim-sensitive practices. And it also mandates that universities have comprehensive training for their students, their staff, and their faculty. Well, the legislation is really important for many different reasons. We know that in New York and across the country, we have a really significant problem with sexual violence on campuses and really off campuses. And so this legislation is really the first time that the governor is saying, no more, enough is enough. And going on to college campuses, really creating consistency amongst all universities and all colleges in New York.
I believe that this legislation, when properly implemented, will change how sexual violence is handled and discussed on campuses. First, all colleges in New York State must adopt and educate students of the statewide affirmative consent standard. This standard pretty much states that consent is active and not passive, that the lack of a no does not equal the presence of a yes, and that silence and lack of resistance do not constitute consent to sexual activity. Students will know that consent to prior sexual activity does not waive the need for consent in the present, and that they also have the right to withdraw consent at any point during activity because they are the only ones who have full control of their body. Further information is available on the governor's website, governor.ny.gov, and the bill itself is available on the New York Senate's website at nysenate.gov.
You can also go to your university's website and get information about their particular policy. And in the event that you still need answers, you can feel free to call Sanctuary for Families, 212-349-6009, and we will provide you with the information that you need.